Pañcaprāṇamanobuddhidaśendriyasamanvitam Deshaindriyasamanvitam Apañcīkṛtabhūtotthaṃ sūkṣmāṅgaṃ bhogasādhanam. The five pranas, the 10 organs, and the manas and the buddhi. Here chitta and ahankara are included in the manas and buddhi. So instead of 19, here 17 is stated. All of them formed from the rudimentary elements Tanmatras before their fivefold division and mutual combination with one another, which is Pancheekarana, and this is the subtle body. The instruments of experience. This expression is very important here. This in itself becomes an analogy, though not explicitly given as an analogy. Instruments of experience. These instruments, note this. In the last shloka, we learnt about the first adjunct, which is the gross body made of 5 elements. In this shloka, Acharya is explaining about the next upadhi, which is the subtle body. The subtle body or the sūkṣma sharira consists of 5 vital airs, Pañcaprāṇa, 5 organs of actions, karma indriyas, 5 organs of perception, jnana indriyas, and the mind and the intellect. Acharya calls these as instruments of experience. Five pranas: prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. Prana is the life force controlling and regulating the activities of our sense organs. Apana is in charge of the excretory system of our body. Samana is situated in the stomach and looks after the process of digestion. Udana is seated in the neck region and is responsible for our speech and modulation of our voice. Vyana is the supervisor moving all over the body and examining all vayus are functioning properly or not. These are the 5 pranas. Then comes mana, the mind. Nature of the mind itself is samshaya, which literally means that which doubts. Mind is ever engaged in interpreting. Next comes buddhi, the intellect. Buddhi is the nature of nishchaya. Mind is samshaya, buddhi is nishchaya, which means determined or that which instructs. Next, 10 senses, dasha indriya. Ravana has 10 heads, which is symbolic of our dasha indriyas. None of the 10 heads are communicating with each other or coordinated properly. Lord Rama, on the other hand, was completely coordinated, which tells us that only discipline can defeat indiscipline. So, the recently concluded Vijayadashami is when we should become disciplined with our organs of perception and 5 organs of action, response, karmendriyas. Samanvitam means assemblage. The subtle body is an assemblage of the Panchapranas, Manah, Buddhi and Dasha Indriyas. A machine is made by the assemblage of different parts. and the subtle body too is just like a machine. Body is made of the bhutas and the mind is made up of mahabhutas. Here, the expression Maha means pure. What is pure? Infinite Brahman. Our mind has to be at that level, Maha level, purest level. Pardon me. The gross body, which is made of the five elements, is the instrument through which we experience the pain and pleasures. The subtle body is the instrument responsible for all these senses. It is well known from experience that in deep sleep, when the mind is inactive and all the senses are merged in their source, one does not feel cold or hunger or any sensation, and hence there is but happiness, absence of agitation, Anandamaya Kosha. It is only when the mind is active and the senses are working that one can feel through the external sense organs. It is only due to the modifications of the mind that one feels attracted to an object or to the sensual pleasures. Thus, the subtle body is responsible for the enjoyment of the outer world. Hence, the subtle body can be called as the seat of all desires. These also originate from the five elements and hence are impermanent and insentient in themselves. It is only when, due to ignorance and ego, one mistakes them as the self, that all the dualities arise, and hence the attachments and aversions resulting from such duality also arises. Hence, a seeker must clearly know that these are also upadhis, conditioning factors, and are only illusory limiting agents, while the self, which can never undergo any modification, is ever distinct from these. Now coming to that instrument. The illustration here is of an instrument, such, let us say, a pen. An instrument is used for a specific task and put away when the task is done. A pen may be picked up when there is some writing to be done. As soon as the work is complete, the cap is fitted and the pen is put away. In the same manner, the subtle body, which is constituted of 17 parts, may be thought of as being so many instruments only. Each of these 17 instruments has a function. Upon the completion of the function, they have to be rested, like we are putting away the pen. The important implication of using this subtle body as instrument is that if it is properly used only as instrument, then it prevents attachment of the self building up. Attachments towards the functions performed through these instruments, or upon which the function is performed. Okay. The pen performs its function of writing, but it never gets attached to what it is written through with it by the user or by the writer. Similarly, knowing that it is only an instrument, the mind and the intellect, and in particular the chitta or memory of the past experiences, has to be used very wisely, without taking much note of all the emotions concerning these experiences. In a verse in Viveka Chudamani, the interpretation goes like this. It is the subtle body that provides indication that there is something beyond the body. Subtle body is the one that goes through all experiences, even from past life. Concept of subtle body only applies to a person who is not enlightened. Avidya causes us to misinterpret ourselves in many wrong ways as to who we really are. Everything is pervaded by Atman. However, only living beings have Antakarana, which acts as reflecting medium. When the mind is pure, the Atman manifests with effulgence. Good actions re-energize latent good samskaras. We are all Brahman. This is only a concept in the beginning. The gap between concept and experience disappears through Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. What is the source which enlivens all these 17 parts? How does these instruments get energy without which they may not be able to function at all? Kenopanishad explains the importance of the soul or Brahman in human life. It goes on to explain that which is not seen by the eye, but that by which the eyes are made to see, know that as the Brahman. And this goes on for the eye, the prana, the mind, etc. The realized see the entire creation through the eye of knowledge. God is infinite knowledge, joy, love, and pure existence. He is all pervading and is the Antaryami in all beings. Chara Achara, animate and inanimate. He is the Supreme Soul who is manifest in this entire creation. Every individual being is a manifestation of the Supreme Soul that has taken a body as a temporary residence and is compelled to experience the world of senses. Just as the sun's rays falling on colorful objects get reflected and appear as the respective colors of the objects, the soul in every being appears to be aligned with the particular body-mind complex. The Atma propels the acts of the individual. But these two are distinct entities, and it would be foolish to see them as identical. Which two? Atman and the individual, which is ego. The body, mind, intellect, etc. is lifeless material, jada vastu, insentient, and is activated because of the presence of the Atma. The Atma takes up a body and departs with the subtle body of mind and senses through the cycle of birth. Those with divine vision are able to see the immortal Atman in every manifestation in the creation. To them, death is the mere departure of the Atman from a particular body. They are able to distance oneself from the world of senses by leading a life of austerities and intense spiritual sadhana practice. Only by such a conduct can one sustain the divine vision of God, while others easily get deluded by the attraction of worldly experiences and hence fail to see God. In a separate one-to-one pour for few sadhakas, he himself posed a question and he himself answered the question. The question was, how do you say that Atman is the one which provides energy, which provides life to us, when scientifically it is proven that the life force are the pranas, Pañcaprāṇas. Only through the pranas we get the life. Then what is the role of Atman in that? This question can never be answered directly. It can be answered only through existence, pure existence as Atman. He answered this way. He said, if it was true that the Atman does not enliven us, the Atman does not enliven the pranas, which then goes on to enliven all other things. The Atman does not enliven our Panchakoshas. If this is to be taken as true, that means there is no association of a human being who is energized by the life force prana with self, with Atman, then it would have never been possible for any of the realized sages, Ramana, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, etc., to have experienced and existed as Atman while existing with the human body supposedly enlivened by life force pranas. This one thing, in this way, there is no direct answer possible to it, because direct answers are possible for sciences. Okay, it is spirituality and Vedanta, these are all, it's classified under mysticism or mystery, because they cannot be answered like we answer a mathematical equation or a physics, chemistry, biology issue. It can be understood only this way, that the realized masters above board are standing testimony to us thus, that having been born with the Panchakoshas, Panchaprāṇa, enlivening the other koshas. These sages are proof for us that they have transcended these panchakoshas, they have transcended the body-mind complex, they have transcended the gross, subtle and causal body, and they have existed as Atman. And in their case, undoubtedly, 101%, it is their Atman which illumined themselves in totality. This is a very grand revelation which can be experienced only through intense nididhyasana. Otherwise, this will be an interesting sharing. That's all. So come back to the practical part of this. Take home lesson from this shloka in Atma Bodha is use your subtle body as an instrument for a higher cause, realizing the self. The instrument is very important, but it has a limited purpose, and after fulfilling the purpose, its role is over. Daily from morning to evening, the subtle body is to be used as mere instruments without attaching too much importance to what they fetch, the mind, the senses fetch for us from the outside world. And in the night, or whenever we are in the nididhyasana, in sadhana, the instrument has to be rested. The pen cap has to be put on over the pen, and it has to be closed and say thanks, and it has to be kept aside. And focus only on where we have to reach using these bodies as instrument. This is the drive home spiritual lesson from this verse. Atma Bodha. Hari Om Tat Sat.